Hello, greetings. It's been a little while since chatted. I've been in India since mid-September of last year of 2022, and I chose, just due to where I've been at in the journey and where it felt like this time was going, I chose to pretty much be offline for the past 7 months, even with family and friends. I deleted WhatsApp and got a different number, so I was mainly just communicating via email, with the main intention being to be able to go deeper into this practice of meditation and life exploration and evolution. Just felt appropriate as time had been taking to that place. So I've been pretty offline, and then the last several months I've been in another solitary dark retreat at the same location that I was in 2020. I just came out a handful of days ago or something. As maybe able to tell, my skin is rather white. And my beard is a little longer than I think it's ever been. So yeah, I thought that I would share a bit, because now just like sharing mostly about dark retreats and the practice and experiences that I have had and benefited from. I've, since my first ones, the first ones that I underwent, which were just like created about this month in 2020, so that's 3 years. And since then I've had over 220 days in darkness in 3 years. And so I am most definitely not an expert in any way or a master. I'm nowhere near that, but I do have experience that I didn't have before and that many others may not have. So I thought I would share. First, I do want to apologize, because this is the first time that I've really gone offline like this. And so I communicated that to some degree with close family and friends, but I didn't really communicate it as well as I could have with them. And I didn't really communicate as well as I could have with others. And so I apologize for that. Moving forward, I have more practice and experience now. So we shall see how many videos this is. I'll try to keep them not so long. But what I'm thinking I will do is first share a bit just about kind of life in my world a little bit, or this world that I'm in, and a bit about India. Here I'm at a Ayurvedic center, and so I'll share a little bit about Ayurveda, things that I didn't know previously. I'll take it for a little tour, share about darkness, dark rooms and things, a little bit of the background that I know, which is very little. And then go into why do others that I know go into these sorts of practices or use these sorts of tools. And I'll share a bit about the meditation that I've been doing, because since last August, I switched practices from Goenka Vipassana to what is known as TWIM, or Tranquil Wisdom Insight Meditation, which is a meditation taught by the Buddha. So I'll share a bit about that, because that was a very big part of these last several months. That's basically what I was doing all the time. And I'm really appreciative for it. So I'll share a bit about that, share some experiences that I've had in the darkroom, share some cautions and some suggestions. And let me see, there is a lot, so I did a little outline this time around if there's anything else. Yeah, I think that's about it, really. Throughout that, I'll share more about India and things, because India is a very unique place that many of us have never experienced or may not experience. But to kick things off, so this is the room that I am in here. The center that I'm staying in is named Ashwini Dhamma. And as I said, it's an Ayurvedic center. Ashwini, historically in Indian lore, are two brothers. I believe they're twins. And they are viewed as being very strongly related to medicine and thing. And then Dhamma, with a 1M, means like home or location, if I'm remembering correctly. So just, sharing a bit about the experience that I have, starting nowhere in particular. A few years back, as I began on this journey, first I was in a much more Western kind of way of going about things and researching and whatnot, and I got a lot of benefit from affirmations, which is something that previous to that I would have really laughed at. I thought affirmations is just kind of a woo-woo thing, but I learned as I was studying a bit more of neuroscience and habit change things back then, that like everything that I encounter in this world, the brain takes in. And from my experience, especially with being in a dark room for months at a time, where there's not many new informations coming in, I currently personally believe that everything that I encounter in this world is stored in the mind. Doesn't necessarily mean the brain, because we don't fully understand where the mind is, not even in like a woo-woo way, but recently, not so long ago, scientists or medical professionals discovered that there are many, many neurons in the gut, and the gut is actually thought to release more serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, than the brain does. And so we don't really know. The brain obviously has lots of benefit or impact, but so it's my thinking, due to things that I've experienced, that everything I ingest, just by seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, the six senses, as the Buddha teaches, which are sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, and thought itself, that those are stored somewhere. And so I realized, well, why don't I be a little more intentional about the things that I am ingesting so that they can assist me? And so since then, I have had the habit of just making little cards. This one says, appreciation before information, acceptance before advice. Because I've recognized over the years, as some people watching this may have also recognized, that since I was a youngster, or at least since I was a late teenager, there has been a habit sometimes of communicating in ways that can come off as a bit forceful or a bit trying to fix or whatnot. And it's coming from a place of care, as many of us have experienced, but it can come off as perhaps not that compassionate, and so taking a little time to connect with people. This is another one that has been with me for a long time, since at least the first long dark room. It says, that which we fear as a snake is only a rope that we've misperceived. The power of its perception is gone. And that was one that I had these different ones in the dark room, and I will repeat them every day. And I choose them specifically for either things that I have going on in my life, such as wanting to be able to communicate in a more positive way, or potentials that I see, as in perhaps coming into periods that feel scary in a dark room or in life, and to be able to recognize this is a quote from a master. That which we fear, that which I fear as a snake, it's actually only a rope. It's not a big deal. It's just the perspective that I have. Here's a little bit of these you may not have ever seen before. These are chiku fruit. It's a really interesting fruit. It has a flavor. The closest thing I can say is like nutmeg. I mean, it's unlike any fruit I've ever had, and it's really fantastic. This is the amla, which is the Indian gooseberry, which is very strongly used in Ayurveda. These are just some tea things, basically. These are dates, which I really enjoy these dates. And then I looked at the package, and the ingredients are dates and glucose syrup, which is one of those classic, like modern day kind of mind-boggling. Dates are some of the most sweetest foods naturally available. And they would choose to put sugar in there. I don't quite get it. This is just a little bit, these are things I'll be leaving here and giving away. These just things that seem obvious, but this is an example of Ayurveda and benefits that we don't always know about in the West. So this is actually copper. This is also copper. And you can do a little Google and you can see there are many great benefits to drinking water that has been in copper. This is the light that I kept with me in the darkroom just in case. This is a notebook that I have been carrying for years. I can just take out the notebook and it's separated into, there's little to-dos. I have different separations. So this is things with health. These are commitments I'm taking, habits and routines, places that I'm interested in going, ideas, insights that I've had in life, inspirations, principles that I've thought of or realized, things to research, quotes, all kinds of different things. And then in here, I'll just write things as it comes up. I don't do daily journaling anymore. I have gotten a lot of benefit from it, and from, as I've shared with the Artist's Way, I've gotten a lot of benefit from that. But currently, it doesn't really feel appropriate to where I'm at. Postcards. These are, so historically, here's a thing that I will share happily, is since, what is that? Since I first remember, I would guess probably early in high school, having like athlete's foot, and my feet used to smell very strongly. And I remember, I had forgotten about this until I was in the kuti, and my feet used to smell very strongly, and I was so embarrassed. And there's one experience where I was mowing the lawn of a friend's house and mowing it barefoot. And so my feet got all green. And then I went to the lake with some friends, and one of the friends said, "Sam, your feet are disgusting." And I was so embarrassed because I thought it was due to the smell or whatnot. And then I realized later it's, because they're green and it looks like the toes are all green and gnarly. Well, since then, they're not green, but I have gotten toe fungus on the toenails. And I have no idea. I've tried different things to cure it. Allopathy gives like a medicine, but you have to take it for months and get kidney checks. And I'm not really interested in that because it seems like it's poison. So I've tried different things in the darkroom, and we will see. This is a really awesome Ayurvedic ointment, and we can look here. This is like a classic of what Ayurveda is, and I'll explain more, but this is about 12 different naturally occurring plant oils and things like that. And this is the best ointment that I've ever found for, like feet itching, or a couple times in the past months I've had like a ringworm or something, and this stuff goes away. This is ozonated oil. If you know about ozone therapy, you can also put the ozone in oil. This is neem oil, Neem is a tree that grows in the tropics. And actually I was in Mexico and they had plenty of neem as well. But neem is a magical thing. It's a very bitter thing, but it is used in many different, for the body and for nature. It's used as a natural stopping pests and things. It's in that ointment. The neem oil, it's used for many different uses on the body, and it's also the best natural contraceptive that I have ever learned of. I'll share different resources in the bottom of the videos, and I'll share some different studies that I've come across where basically if it's used appropriately, the two different studies that I saw is 100%, which is pretty awesome because most of the contraceptives that women use these days are hormonal, and they have lots of issues. I have too many female friends who have had, of course, mood issues because hormones are super powerful in our body, and playing with them can cause all kinds of issues, but also chronic ailments and whatnot. And so we haven't really found that great of a natural contraceptive, and this seems to be one. Now, it is neem oil, so you smell it, it has a unique smell. So it adds something unique to intimate times. But This is another interesting Ayurvedic treatment. So this is actually the ground ash of the conch shell. And I asked doctor if he had anything for toenail fungus, and he gave me this. And first, use lemon juice, citrus juice on the nails, and then put that conch shell, and they work together, and it turns into a corrosive, and so it kills the fungus. So that's one interesting Ayurvedic treatment of natural. While I'm in the darkroom, both times I've used a voice recorder, and so I have it set up. I'll share more about that when I'm in there, actually, but these are just, this is a brand, Peak Designs. I don't have any sorts of, links, or I don't get paid for anything of this. These are just things that I have found beneficial. They make really nice bags with all kinds of different pockets. And traveling these months in the darkroom are the longest amount of time that I've stayed in one place since autumn of 2019, and it is now April of 2020. So I live out of bags often. This is the sleep mask that actually I first learned of from Tim Ferriss in his podcast years ago. It's a Sleepmaster, and it's the best one that I've found. When I'm in the darkroom, it's dark, but sometimes I need to open the door for the food or whatnot. I will put that on. These are silicone earplugs. You can get them anywhere, and they're really great. The best that I've found for earplugs. This is a classic in India, Africa, but in US we don't have so much, but mosquito netting, bags, traveling, rolling the clothes. This is a thing that I don't think I've ever seen in the US, but in India it's not uncommon. It's like a plastic door. And this is a pretty classic Indian bathroom. So toilets, Western style. This, be sitting here using this, washing clothes. It's common in places, even hotel rooms, but also houses and things. There'll be these two buckets, this little stool, and not always, people will have washing machines as well. India is massive. There's I haven't checked recently, but over 1.4 billion people. And so the majority of that is going to be lower income. But still, even if the middle income is less than a quarter, that's still larger than the whole population of the United States, So, India is very different in many ways, but it's not the moon. They have everything that we have in the West. I won't say we, I don't live in the West anymore, but everything that we have all over the world, because I'm a human, but often it's done in different ways, and this is one of them. And this is a classic shower. And these are some things that I use. So currently I have some Invisalign going because I met with, I've been having some issues with this back tooth, and dentists have just been saying, hey, you're grinding your teeth, whatever that word is, I forget. And I never wake up with sore jaws, or I never hear myself grinding, and I'm a lot less stressed than I was in the past. It seems odd that I would be grinding. And so none of them had any other solutions, and they said, if you keep going, then we're going to have to do a root canal. And I'm really personally not interested in doing a root canal. I haven't done a ton of research, but I have done some research, and it's just very unnatural to drill into a tooth, take all the living things out so it's not subsequently dead, but leave that in the body. There's no other time that I'm aware of where we're keeping a dead thing on the body. It doesn't seem healthy. And the tooth is actually incredibly alive, as I've read more about it on my own healing journey. I forget what the amount is. You can look, and I'll give a resource of a great book that shares great information on keeping teeth healthy. But it's something like 100 meters or something, which is like 400 feet, it's like 300 feet of tubules just in one tooth. There's all kinds of stuff going on. It comes down from the belly up into the tooth from the inside and goes secreted out of the tooth onto the tooth. And I mean, the teeth are really alive. They're incredible, really amazing. And so I'm not really interested in having a root canal. Thankfully, a few years ago when I was in India the first time, I met a woman who had really chronic issues, health issues. And she learned after years that it was because she had a cap, and it might have even been a root canal, because I've read and heard from lots of people that when they have root canals, subsequently, all kinds of like low-grade chronic issues will occur because the teeth go into the bloodstream and all kinds of things. Now, it doesn't happen for everyone, and I'm not an expert, so I won't say like, you know, root canals are bad or something. I don't know, but I have met and talked with people and professionals who have known many people who've had root canals, chronic issues, and then those chronic issues going once the root canal is removed. So similar with her, she went to a dentist, found out there was infections and whatnot, it was taken out, it was clean, it was gone. She was good. And this dentist type was known as biological dentist, which I had never heard of before. It's also like a holistic dentist. And there's no woo-woo, you know, these words, for better or worse, for whatever reason, holistic or natural or organic, somehow in the modern world, they get these negative connotations sometimes. But holistic just means taking in the whole. So biological dentists are actually much more cutting edge than I had experienced before. They will do things like ozone therapy while doing work on the teeth, or give you like an IV drip of vitamins to help boost your immune system while working on the teeth. They don't use toxic materials. They don't put lead amalgams and things in, which I had received while I was in the military. Not lead, excuse me, mercury amalgams. Because in the West, or in the US at least, I think it's changing, but it's still considered, mercury amalgams, no problem. Like, yeah, mercury is considered to be one of the highest toxicity metals when used incorrectly. But when it's in this amalgam form, we put it in your mouth, which goes down to your gut, no, there's no issues. But again, I was interested to have not that, just in case. So I had those removed later after leaving the military. So I connected with a biological dentist in Delhi. There's not many in India. There are some in the US and in Mexico and around the world. And they looked at my teeth and they told me things that I've never experienced in 38 years of being with dentists. Like, it was mind-blowing. They told me all these things about how the mouth works and whatnot, and they shared that due to the thinness of my face and the way the jaw is, it just naturally grinds back here. And so these Invisaligns, which I thought were only for looks, and nothing against that, you know, but this will also slowly change my jaw and take that away. So I'm really grateful. But they recommend using one of these little water pick things, and I only paid $30 for this, and it's awesome. I used to use the plastic ones and I like those, but it's lots of trash. And this thing is incredible. It's black and I had it duct taped because in the darkroom, no light, you know. I use, as you see here, Neem and clove toothpaste. This is an Ayurvedic medicine or toothpaste. And again, look at this. This is like 15 different ingredients, all natural. And in that book that I share, you can see so many of the ingredients in modern toothpaste, they actually do the things that we're trying to avoid, like the foaming agents to make it foam so people think it's nice, or the colors. There's the neon blue that I liked so much when I was a child. These are often petroleum-based products or things like that, and they actually damage the teeth. I was like, it blew my mind when I read this, like, how is this possible? But in the world sometimes, a lot of it's about looks. And so that is one. This is for dry brushing, skin brushing, which I don't know if it's Ayurvedic or what, but you just use this on the skin starting from the extremities, going, and it helps the lymph system, which we have many systems in the body. The blood system is the one that we know, but the lymph is something that is not as well known, and it's near to the skin. And so it just helps it move, bring it to the stomach, and it helps it move, and it's healthy. This is a tongue scraper made of copper, as you see. mornings and evenings before bed and after waking, scrape. And the tongue is one way that the body excretes toxins. So especially when dry fasting, when fasting with no food or water after days, the tongue gets very furry because it's excreting all of these toxins and whatnot. So that helps it. This is a Neem soap as well. This is a bamboo toothbrush with bamboo bristles. And this is a neem wood comb. And I use these because, I'm just down with being more natural. We have plastic everywhere, and plastic is an incredible tool to be able to have bags. Just think, 50 or 100 years ago, obviously, how difficult it was to transport things. And now we just have bags. They're incredible. They're amazing. But I don't want plastic on me. Plastic is made from petroleum, and petroleum is like, I don't go to the gas station and put gas on my body or oil. But these, I have plastic in my mouth, and I'm accepting that for now because it's helping me with another issue. But if I don't need to put a plastic brush in small little tiny amounts, but still, and a plastic comb that is slowly getting on the skin, and clothes that are made of plastic, and then in our food, if you look on the ingredients and you look at what artificial food colorings are, which are in all kinds of processed foods, and even sometimes in actual vegetables to make them look in a different way that sellers think humans want them to look, they're mostly made of petroleum products. And so we're ingesting artificial food colorings into our body, which are made of petroleum, which the body is not created to be able to cleanse. And so subsequently, we have many of these chronic issues, especially cancer, which 150, 200 years ago basically didn't exist. So if I can minimize that, I'm down with it. This is a neti pot, excuse me. And this is, fill it with water with some salt, go like this, and cleans out the nostrils and the sinuses, help the sinuses to drain, and also if in a place with pollution and whatnot, then helps clean that. So that is a bit about life in here, and I'll take us outside now. Much love.